Welcome. My name is Per Christopher Undheim, and I'm a product manager from DBWatch. And today in this webinar, we will go through how DBAs can achieve and maintain security and compliance across SQL Server environments using DBWatch Control Center. If you have any questions during this presentation, you can ask them in the Zoom Q&A section that you find in your Zoom controls, and we will go through questions at the question section at the end of the webinar. We will explore DBWatch security and compliance package today, what it does, how to configure it, and how to use it for continuously getting an oversight of compliance. You can also learn how to deploy templates, configure jobs, and leverage views for real-time control. During this webinar, we will use a database environment that we have set up in our demo lab, but we also have a lot of new attendees today that are new to DBWatch. So before we start going into the security and compliance, I'll quickly show you a bit about the product. I'm connecting to this DBWatch Control Center setup, and currently I'm connected to 2 data centers. I'm in the monitoring section of the product. So DBWatch is a database operations tool that allows you to connect to multiple database platforms, multiple database environments, connect together your whole setup into one dashboard to manage and monitor and report and work on database instances. And in this setup, I'm connected to 2 data centers. I have all the errors from all my systems in both data centers here in the overview. From this section, I can dive into specific areas and dive into the reasons for each of these problems. And I also have some lights to indicate what kind of setup I have and how the stance of my systems are. So 5 databases are in lost connection mode at the moment, 12 are in alarm, 20 have warnings, 10 are no issues on, and 22 are disconnected. And if I go to the overview, you can also see I'm connected to multiple database platforms, multiple versions. So it's connecting to them all, monitoring all these types of database systems. And on the side, I have the selection of switching between different parts of the software. So I'm currently in monitoring. I can also work in management, where I want to look and fix issues on the databases that I am connected to. That will log in and allow me to change settings and configuration and things like that on the databases that I am managing. So we also have farm dashboards that allow you to query across your environment to look for stats and for information across all your systems. So farm views are usually working on one metric across your database environment. And this allows you to get unique insight into how your databases are performing. We also have something called SQL Worksheet, allows you to query across, or run scripts or things like that across your database instances. Auto discovery to scan the network for different databases that are not added into the product already. FDL console to run queries in FDL. So FDL is farm data language. So data warehouse language allows you to pick and combine any information across the databases you are monitoring. And also you have the reporting, where you can run reports on the databases to get PDF reports and things like that from your system. And these reports can also be scheduled so that you can get them at a certain time. And there is a dashboard for statistics on the systems that you are connected to. So DBWatch, we try to do all database operations in one tool and to allow DBAs to work across multiple platforms and have one pane of glass into their entire database environment. So that's quickly on DBWatch Control Center. I'll now come back to that later on when I will show you how security and compliance is applied and used on the databases. When you are tasked with making your databases compliant, you usually get no guidance on what that actually means. You get a set of requirements they have to be compliant to, and checklists and policies, but no one helps you interpret the impact on the databases and give you a tool to maintain how that is done. So your task is typically maintaining your databases and making them perform and be consistent and work with all the applications. But all these requirements from compliance requirements can inflict problems with that, and that's what we try to achieve here, having a method to attacking compliance for the DBA. If you go for manual methods, so you go through your checklist for compliance requirements and then try to check them off one by one on your systems, that is a solution where it's hard to scale, and you get into a sort of drift scenario where other DBAs or other pieces of software might enable the very things that you try to close when you try to become compliant. So a lot of the compliant requirements are related around configuration, how the database system is configured, and these configurations can change either by other users or applications that enable them later on. So you need to keep a continuous track of compliance, because if you do a compliance check and you do the full manual work that is put into it, over time, after you've done your compliance, these settings will change and by other users or by applications, and you will be non-compliant when you get to your audit time. Also, there could be legacy systems that you are using, systems that might rely on unsecure or configuration that is not compliant. And these you have to document the compliance requirements that you not meet with the different software and the reasoning for it, so that you have that as part of your documentation. And also using manual methods with spreadsheets is hard to scale across your environment. And this is where we come in, because we already provide the tool for database operations. So this is an add-on to our normal operation where we do monitoring and management of database systems. We provide a complete tool with a unified platform to work on your databases, and we have built-in templates to achieve SIS compliance or similar that can be adjusted for your system. And we always work with our DBAs to help them manage complex systems and make their job as easy as possible, and to reduce downtime, automate things that can be done quicker and more efficiently. And now also working on security and compliance, currently for SQL Server. Manual compliance, that is a trap that is easy to get into once you have the request from management to become SIS compliant or similar, because it's tedious, it's error prone, it creates technical debt, it's hard to keep track of all exceptions, and audits is very hard to do, because even if you've gone through your databases once, when you come to an audit, it will most likely fail. In DBWatch, we provide a stepwise compliance process to align the process to becoming compliant with how a DBA works on databases, and also staying compliant when you have closed the issues by leveraging the alerting and monitoring capabilities of the product to be able to keep track and to respond quickly when there is things that occur again. So the method is based around a set of compliance checks and to bundle together in something called a template. So a template is a set of monitoring jobs and configuration that can be deployed on one or more database systems to make sure that they are configured in the same way. And we provide templates that can then adjust so that you can also remove monitoring checks if they're not part of the compliance requirements that you have on your system. So first, when you start with the compliance, you start with a compliance template with no alerting. And I'll go through that when I show you the live system, where you deploy the monitoring jobs without creating noise when it comes to ticketing or things like that. So we start with non-alerting, and then we work through the different checks in the compliance and then we enable alerting later on to see when if the problem occurs again. And once you have deployed a template and deployed that on the set of database systems, you will get dashboards that allow you to understand what is online, what is not, where you need to put in work, what systems are outside the compliance. And you can then prioritize systems and issues, and I'll show different ways in the next steps to how these will be addressed. So you will have different dashboards that allow you to have an overview of what is wrong on the systems, which systems are not compliant, which one are compliant, and allow you different methods to approach the compliance issues and correct them. So the compliance jobs here can auto-correct a lot of configuration settings if you allow them to, and that is one of the methods to both roll out compliance and fix them quickly, but also to keep them fixed so that we monitor, and if the problem occur again, we can close the issue quickly and alert you that there has been an opening of a wrong configuration, things like that. And the compliance dashboards also allow your team to work together to close different issues. Either you can focus on one issue across all the systems. It could be easy to close things that you don't need or don't interfere with the applications that you run. And then you can focus on one database system at a time and close a lot of issues on that. So different ways to approach this when we come to the live system, and I'll show you how we work to quickly become compliant and close the lowest hanging fruit first before we work with the things that could impact the databases, where we have to have some understanding of how the databases are being used, what applications are using them, before we can close the configuration issues. So, and once the systems are in a more stable manner, meaning we have closed the low-hanging fruit, we have enabled alerting to catch regressions, dbWatch will allow you to transition gradually from totally non-compliant system with a lot of issues into becoming compliant and then alerting on changes. And we have a security and compliance framework job that allows you to be alerted when new issues arise on the systems, even if you have not enabled alerting directly on individual compliance checks. And at the end of the day, you will be left with reporting that you can use to send to auditors, to send to the security team, so that you have a piece of paper to give them when they are asking for, is your database compliant? You can give them a full overview where you can highlight the compliance stance you have, etc. on the system. So we will then switch to live demo, and as I said earlier, connected to the two data centers here. And before we start implementing the templates and things like that, we have to make sure we have the right licenses configured, because the security and compliance package is an add-on to the normal production monitoring license. And you can go to server configuration and manage licenses to get an overview of the licenses you have and what type of licenses you have enabled. So I think one of the systems that we will work on today is this on-the-run system, and we can pull down here. You have an overview of what licenses are available in your license key, and so this depends on if you're testing out dbWatch Control Center with the demo license, then you'll have this demo type license enabled. But if you move into production, you will have the production license and then the additional security package. So to enable the security and compliance package in your environment, you either have to have the demo selected or a production plus a security package. And without that selected, you won't see the monitoring jobs for security and compliance. So we have the demo for on-the-run, so that's fine. We can use that. And we also then move into templates. So templates are used to configure consistent monitoring on a large set of systems. So this is a templates in itself is a basic part of how to manage large enterprise environments with DBWatch, and it allows you to configure sets of monitoring jobs and their configuration, and then deploy that set on a large number of systems. So we have something called bundled templates, and that's if you start from setting up the DBWatch on your own or with a support from a tech team, you will only have bundled templates because they are part of the product when it's shipped. And local templates are my versions on it. And the bundled templates are read-only. So the way to start here is that you'll pick the no alert weekly security and compliance template, and you right-click and you create copy. And the create copy will create a local template. So this is what I've done here. I've created a local template based on the no alert template. And this allowed me to edit and adjust. And this is key on how we approach the compliance process. Because by default here, they will be not returning alerting or things like that. And then you have to configure this later. I can do that step now. So create no alerts for my own. And okay, and I go to this no alerts, I expand it, and I can look at individual jobs here. And you'll see it have a set of configuration setups, so how often it will run, so the different schedule. And this is cron tab-like format, so if you use the Unix, it's quite easy to understand. So this is 5 minutes past 11, I think, on any day of the week. So what happens here is you can configure overrides to the default parameters. So there is an override configured here. It means it will return no warnings even if this issue is present. And when we work through the process of closing, so if we've closed this on all systems, we can change the template here to not override, to basically say 1 here instead of 0, so 1 will give a warning, and then roll out that template, and then whenever there is any database that where the database credentials in this are wrong, you'll get alerted. So we will move all the jobs gradually from non-alerting to alerting as we go through and close the issues in the database systems. So that's part of the process, because if we turn everything onto alerting, a typical system will have 20-30 issues. And if you have 100 database instances, it's going to be lots of alarms coming through your ticketing system. But we want to approach this without getting alarm fatigue. So we start with non-alerting, and then we will go through it and we will close the different issues. If I close the template, you can go to metadata to enable for large groups of systems what job templates are applied. So metadata is the editor is to allows you to tag systems with different key value combinations, but also allows you to tag them with job templates. So if we go to the system that we're working on, you'll see that this has different security and compliance alerts enabled. We can go over to my own here, apply changes to that system. You can also go to different groups and either change for the individual system in that group like this, or you can click multiple here, and then you can override the defaults for all the systems in the group. And that allows you to quickly add things like the compliance or something on the entire set of systems. Once you have enabled that, typically the templates are checked every night. So every night the DBWatch server go through the templates make sure all the databases are consistent to their templates. But if you don't want to wait until the next morning to see if all the jobs are installed and set up and everything, you can also manually go to configure jobs on any server. And on top here, you can right click and trigger job sync. That will trigger that nightly template check for the systems. So trigger job synchronization. The managed jobs also gives an overview of available monitoring jobs. As you see, we monitor a lot of things on all the database systems. So this was specifically on the run. I think we opened this up. So when the monitoring jobs are installed and set up, you will get the security group here. So we group the monitoring that is enabled on the system in different categories, and the monitoring jobs in security and compliance, they get grouped here in security. So we'll see they're all green, but that is because we have not enabled alerting on them. And you could go into every one and see if they are compliant or not. But we have a dashboard that allows us to get that kind of overview of the system, and it's here in the farm views. Here we can go and we see the different issues and the number of database instances. As you can see in this overview, we have only applied the security and compliance for these 5 systems, but they have a varying degree of compliance issues, from 17 issues here out of the 40 monitoring jobs that check for compliance issues, and down to 9 here. That is a bit better. And here you can see different compliance requirements and the number of databases that are out of compliance. Then we can move along into the SQL Server overview here, where we can pick specific monitoring jobs that we might want to dive into. And this is just an example job where you see that one system on the run is compliant. The XP command shell is disabled, but we have 4 of these that are still enabled. And I'll show you different ways to close issues like this. So you can do it, of course, manually. So XP command shell is a configuration parameter. So I can, so let's say a keter P here, and we can move to management and then find the stat system. And we can go into configuration, parameters, dynamic parameters. Let's see. Okay, so we have to enable configuration here. Dynamic, let's see, XP command shell is enabled, and here we can go configure, and then we can disable it here in the parameters of the database. So this it's a way to adjust it. It's a bit tedious, and we can then move back to that compliance check, run it. So that will check that. So if we go to keter P, we'll see in security command shell setting, it's now disabled. If we update the security framework job, will framework run, that will update the views so that we can next time we'll log in, we'll see that this is enabled. We have closed an issue on the system. So that's one way to do it. But you can also configure the XP command shell job to disable that whenever it sees it. So you can enable this to close automatically, and then rerun the job from here. So this is node 180. Just a quick look through it. Security, command shell settings. It's now disabled. framework job to update the registry of compliance, and then we can go next time we go back here. We will see. I think first takes some minutes. See. Disabled, but it's not been updated on the list here yet. But that will happen in as well. We'll also show the third way to enable this is through the template. So we go to job templates, and we had our local template that we created earlier. And here we can find the command shell settings, and then we can change this parameter to yes, and apply. And then when we roll out the template at night to all the systems, this configuration setting will be adjusted so that it will be closed on all the systems. So some of these monitoring jobs can be approached in that way. So you might know that all these settings should never be on anyways on any of my systems. So you can just enable it directly in the templates, and then this issue will be closed for all the systems that you are connected to. Then once you have had your systems achieved more compliance on your systems, you can then also run the report. Let's open that on the databases to have compliance overview. See. So here you can schedule this, and you can also do things here to send specific like alerts from security-related operations to the security team or to specific parts of the organization that needs to respond to security issues on your system. So running the security and compliance assessment report will then give you information about the system, your compliance issues, but also the trend you have on closing compliance issues. And it can be your notes. If you have notes on non-compliance stances of your system, it can be that you're using old applications that need some configuration turned on. You can add the notes here to highlight this for the auditor, that you are aware of this potential breach of compliance, but you have at least approached it in a way. And this will list whether or not you've enabled alerting on it, and if you have a non-compliance issue on that specific server for this specific area. So, and the security and compliance assessment report, of course, follows the structure of the SIS compliance report to give something that's easy to understand for auditors. When you have your databases configured and have you run the compliance report, you can also go into the report editor to open that report and then adjust it to more be aligned with your company and the logo and front page text and different information that you want to show throughout the report, so that you have a compliance report that is more aligned to things that you want to send from your company. So that is a bit on the live system and how it is deployed. Some of the benefits here is to give DBAs visibility into the compliance and clarity on their stance of compliance, so that they can quickly know what things that need to be closed and work in a meaningful and structured way to close all compliance issues on their system and avoid repetitive checks of compliance, because you have it built into a system that allows you to structure your work as a DBA. And this gives benefits to different roles in the company. Both the DBA individually, they get more visibility. It's peace of mind that you have a process to achieve compliance and to stay compliant. If you're on MSP, it's a way to standardize how you work on compliance across your customers. It's easy to do compliance at scale and to roll out dashboards or reports based on compliance that can be given to your customers or integrated into other solutions. We have APIs to integrate data from the compliance checks and that kind of thing into other dashboards and other applications. If you're a security manager or for the security manager, this gains better control. You can give the security manager some access through DBWatch to allow them to run reports and to look at the security stance, etc. And they can get real-time alerts when security issues arise. And also for auditors, there is dashboards to show you that you have control of auditing, that you take auditing seriously, or you take SIS compliance seriously in your organization. And you have reports that you can give them to allow them to document your SIS compliance stats. Before we wrap up a bit on this, you can use DBWatch, move from a scattered and manual efforts to achieve compliance into a repeatable, automated compliance process. You'll always be in control with dashboards, alerting, and reports that help you stay ahead of audits, not to scramble before them. And as your environment scales, DBWatch scales with you. If you are interested in a presentation on the product itself, you can scan the QR code on the screen, or you can go to a web page to request a personalized demo. If you need technical assistance, there is another QR code you can scan to book a meeting with a technical support specialist that allow you to help with technical things like setting up compliance, configuring DBWatch, making sense of things that you need technical assistance on. But we also have some time for questions. If you are ready to simplify your compliance, you can start a 3-month trial by scanning the QR code or going to DBWatch and register for the trial. We also encourage signing up for the next webinar, where we focus on monitoring jobs, for creating custom monitoring jobs for DBWatch to fit unique scenarios. And we have questions from the audience on are the templates global? And templates are global for your setup, so they're part of your installation. So if I move it, I'll show the system. When I go to the template editor, I'm now connecting to, in my environment, I'm connected to 2 different data centers. They are different customers. So they have different templates. But if I go to configuration, job templates, we see we are connected to 2 data centers. They are completely separated, different licenses, like they were different customers, and I have also an MSP. You can copy templates that you make from one system to another through the tool here. So you can either push it to all different servers, or you can push it into 2 individual systems that you want to push it to. So there is questions on if there is templates ready for FTI publication. I don't know. I don't think there is a template ready for that, but it's quite quick and easy to set up different templates to construct from the security jobs that we have into unique templates. So this is typically something we do together with the technical team. When you have a specific template or compliance requirement, you come to us. We look at the compliance requirements that you have in your requirement, and we see what specific checks, configuration of checks, things like that fit together in templates that are ready for your compliance, and then we can push it out to you so that you get those templates set up in your environment. So that's usually something that we do when we onboard customers, help them set things up and make sure that this fits your organization well. So currently there is just the template is just for SIS, and we will work on getting templates for other compliance setups that we see in our customers, like NIST and other templates, to make sure that we have a full coverage of different templates. But typically today it would be taking the SIS templates, adjusting it, and adding things to it to focus on that specific template requirement. So we also have questions on the time it takes to get this setup up and running, and installing DBWatch and getting up to scratch. It depends on the size of your environment, of course, but we have multiple ways to add the database instances individually or bulk, depending on your environment. So it's quite quickly to set up. We usually take in larger customers 1 to 2 days to get up and running, and then we help with training and adjustment to your specific scenarios and get the right architecture in place for your setup. This is very flexible to fit with different security requirements you have. We have quite an architecture that can be connect together different data centers with multi-level encryption between them, and give fine-grained access to the databases that you manage, basically. So if you have any questions that you don't want demo on or things like that, you can also send emails to support or to sales if you have sales inquiries on the emails you see on the screen. So there's multiple ways to be in contact with us if you have questions regarding this or want further insight into how compliance and how DBWatch can help you manage your databases better. And that's it really for me today. Thank you all for attending the webinar. Thank you for great questions. I hope to see you again at the next webinar. And if you have any questions outside of this, feel free to reach out to us. We are here for you. Our support team is staffed by experienced DBAs that know your pains and can help you out in achieving better management and better operations for your databases. Thank you a lot, and have a nice evening.
DBWatch Control Center, redefining database operations. Please visit us at Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube.